Hey guys, so this is a thing. This is a project that I was gonna make in 1 hour. I got an idea from somebody a little while ago from one of my Instagram stories to make a helicopter game. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this game in 1 hour. All right, now we are cooking with gas. There's the start, and boom, my hour has started. So I'm gonna start with making the player uh, helicopter. Here I was like, I don't need the propellers to be all that good, so I just like threw some propellers on the end of this thing. I don't know what I was doing here, but I put it at the wrong spot. So boom, there's the motion. So here I am creating the object for it. This is all like figuring it out as I go because this is not like Game Maker Studio. This is quite a bit different. So I was like, all right, step event, and I wanted to write movement code for this, and the problem was that I do keyboard check pressed, and then I use arrow keys. I don't know why. I should have just used ORD and made a WASD, but um, yeah. And this should be keyboard check because I'm actually looking for repeated instances of the button being held down. This is the sprite for the bullet. I'll just make a square. I don't know why I didn't use the fill in option. Um, literally could have just clicked two buttons in there, but instead I had to fill the whole thing in. And then I'm making the other object. Actually, I think I don't even use this object. I think I make that object mean. I meant to put like a bullet in it, and I didn't. Okay, here's me making the enemy sprite. And so I was like, all right, I just need to flip it over. Need to find that thing. So I mirrored it. It wasn't too bad. And then I was like stressing out to find a color. I was like, all right, yellow. That'll work. And so, boom. There's the enemy helicopter. It's yellow now. Also, just filled it in like that. Set my T minus minus to decrement that value every step. And so once I get to it, it'll be 60 steps a second, 60 frames a second. Um, and we're going to have T less than or equal to 0. And if that happens, it's going to create a bullet object and shoot it at the player. And here I am putting brackets around an instance create like an idiot. So I immediately delete those. And make it an inst variable. And put the instance value in there. And set the speed. And I didn't really know what to set it to. But I just I'll set the speed and direction. It should be 180, right? Shooting at the player. And yes. So I had that, and I need to set T back to 60, but it's not. There we go. There I am. I have a very slow brain when I'm stressed out. See how long it took me to write in T equals 60. I realized I don't want to mess with the whole movement of making it move around the screen and all this stuff. So I just decide that I'm going to make an alarm to have it come into the room from outside the room, and then I'm going to have it go up and down. I forget to put the object in. I just put the X and the Y values. And so then I've got the HP. If it's less than or equal to 0, then it will also be destroyed. But yeah, so instance create at X and the Y at plus 32 pixels. The sprite that was made was 64, so it'll set it to the center of that object. And it's going to create object 31, which is that bullet. And I'm only going to set instance. I think I set this to var inst because I think it was giving me that weird error thing, and I wasn't sure if that was because it needed to be a var or not. So I went ahead and made it a var, and then set the speed to 5 and direction to 0 for that new created object, because 0 moved right across the screen. Here's me trying to figure out the room. 640 and 640 is what I wanted to do there, and I needed to figure out how these layers worked. I figure out how to place an object as an instance in the room. And then I was like, okay, I need to put these objects in and basically put them in here to have the helicopter bounce off of them. And so now it's going to do the collision with object 6 and just basically reverse the direction. So I'll just add 180 to the direction and that will turn it around. So what I'm doing here is like if score is greater than or equal to 10, so if you kill 10 of the enemy helicopters, then I'll do an instance create for the boss. I wasted quite a bit of time just trying to figure out just the oddities of this editing program. So I was like, I'll just draw it on there. It'll be fine. Actually, I find creation code down there. And I'm like, well, there's probably a room speed variable, right? And then I look through the list, and lo and behold, there it is, room speed. But at this point, you can see that I get a whole bunch of errors because it can't run instance create when it's trying to put like values into a function, even though it's a variable. So now I'm just looking through all my code to try to find instance creates instead of clicking on the compile errors and letting it bring me to them. So I like to do things the hard way. I'm like, oh crap. Wasted so much time on that needing to be a string. And I really wish it was a compile error because then I could just click on the errors in the console down there. But there are no errors to click on, so I need to manually go in and find every time I've done an instance create layer and fix it. There's the game, it's pulled up, and I think at this point I realized that the movement code is broken. I still need to go in and change the movement code. There I am. Keyboard check is what it needed to be. And it took me way too long to figure that out. So I needed to make it if they were outside the room, they would get destroyed instead of creating, hundreds and hundreds of instances and slow the game down real quick. Draw GUI, and I'm just going to do a draw health bar. So I set it in the top left corner, and I know it's 64 across, so I just go ahead and set it x plus 64, and then y plus like 4, I think is what I do. Yep. So that's the size of the bar. And HP is the amount. And then here you go. You realize why now I have to put the health bar at 100. I either wanted to make the entire bar green with the red in the back. Oh my gosh. I forgot that it kept creating boss objects for every 60 times a second after that was hit. And so I was like, I just need to destroy this object. And at this point I'm like, yeah, the game's done. So I'll fix up the health bar and everything like that and basically make that run better. And there's the boss. And I'm trying to see if the game will actually finish correctly. And it doesn't. And I don't know why. And there it is. It actually brought up the error this time. And so it's in object 4. And so it's when it's trying to add the score to object 4 after object 4 has been destroyed. And that happens when you try to destroy a yellow helicopter after the boss helicopter's been created, because that's when object 4 is destroyed. And so I was like, oh, that's an easy fix. And so I put an instance exists there, so it checks if object 4 exists, and if it does, then increment the score value in object 4. But if it doesn't, then it won't do anything. Hey, maybe I have enough time to add one more feature. The check variable is going to increment while you're shooting, and if it's over 100, then it's not going to shoot. I don't realize that having check less than 100 on there is actually going to prevent check 2 from ever being false. So this doesn't work yet. And at this point I had check just decrement every step no matter what. There's that check minus minus there. But that wouldn't work because anytime it would add one, it would also decrement right after. And so I didn't realize until after I ran it that this will just shoot endlessly, and it might skip a couple frames of shooting, but it will not ever just all out stop shooting. And then there's the hour, so I stopped the timer. And I think that right there is the final version of the code. So now it's working a lot better. The overheat time is twice as long as the actual shoot time. Still an overpowered weapon, but I like the option to have a hold down fire as well as a fire that you have to push every time. And then you can see it. You're just like slowly shooting it like that, and yeah, and the game ends. And that is the game that I made in an hour. This latest time, nothing special, nothing great, just something functional.